Many of you really want to experience this lifestyle with your twin flame, but you're having a hard time getting out of being comfortable with your karmic partner, or staying within a marriage that's really comfortable, and you don't really necessarily want to hurt another person's feelings, or you maybe want to protect them from life experiences, feeling alone, having to start a journey anew. Okay, and the masculines are starting to understand this. They can't protect their karmic partners from experiencing change. It's Twintuitive 717. I'm back with another video. I wanted to thank you guys for being here. I love you guys. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. It really does support everything that I do here, and it means a lot. The masculines are going through a lot right now, but they want the feminines to know, to remember like the energy of the bull, the sexual attraction between you two, the magnetism, the passion, and also what it's like to be in each other's presence. They don't want you to forget that while you're off on this journey, trying to find yourself and do what's best for you. I think intuitively the masculine needs reminding that the twin flame journey does take the both of you on this path to understanding yourselves a little bit better. And when you understand yourself better, you can make better decisions for yourself. And this includes attracting that romantic partner that best suits your needs, regardless of what society has programmed you to believe. Okay, so I hope that makes sense for a lot of you out there who are tuning in right now. If you're watching this channel, you're safe, you're supported, my comment section is protected, so go ahead and share yourself a little bit. And I do tend to come into the comment section and share a little bit, answer some questions. So what we're going to do is work a little bit with numerology here, along with messages that the masculine wants to send the feminine. Okay. All right, so without further ado, we're going to dive into the major arcanas to talk about the themes of what the masculine is going through right now. And I feel like this reading is resonating for those of you who are like in separation due to like the quarantine or your circumstances, or the fact that you two are caught up in other relationships, but despite that, you two feel what you feel for each other. I want to go ahead and dig into what the masculine has to say to the feminine about where he's at regarding this connection. Movement forward is what we're talking about here, okay? Because we know on my channel, the 717 does represent the energy of coming together in the physical. Okay, so I'm excited to see what comes up. So we have the Justice card, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Magician. So let's go ahead and talk about the Justice card first, because the Justice card is a number 11, which many of you know is a twin flame number, 1111. 1 plus 1 is 2, which is coming together, being harmonious, living out your divine life purpose. The number 2 energy, it talks about the fear of change. But right now, change is here, regardless of whether we like it or not. And the twin flames are kind of understanding this by now. Like many of you who have been on the journey for a really long time, you understand that when it comes to justice, it talks about recognizing your own needs. You're being called to speak up about the way that you're living your life. If it's on autopilot and you've got your twin flame on the side, you need to speak up about what it is you desire in your life, okay? Many of you really want to experience this lifestyle with your twin flame, but you're having a hard time getting out of being comfortable with your karmic partner, or staying within a marriage that's really comfortable, and you don't really necessarily want to hurt another person's feelings, or you maybe want to protect them from life experiences, feeling alone, having to start a journey anew. Okay, and the masculines are starting to understand this. They can't protect their karmic partners from experiencing change. And I think that the feminines have done a lot of work in terms of the number 2 energy, 11, the twin flame connection, bringing this together, speaking their truth. So now it's time for justice for the divine feminines, because the masculines need to speak their truth to their karmic partners and tell them where their heart has been, where their time has been, where their energy has been. And the karmic partners kind of feel this already, and I feel like it's also a journey of growth and expansion and living with integrity themselves. And you guys know on my channel I do not speak negatively at all about the karmic situation. I have a karmic situation of my own, which I am extremely thankful for, and you know, it brings me into the Wheel of Fortune energy, okay? So the wheel is the number 10 energy, which results to the number 1. So the number 1 energy is all about being ambitious and having that willpower to seek out a new life, a new expectation for yourself. And it's kind of like living off the grid and experiencing the abundance that comes along with that, is what I feel. The number 1 energy is all about like being very forceful as well, and like the number 1 is a masculine energy, so it kind of reminds me of like the Justice card going back, right? So I would kind of like pair these cards together, and if masculines are listening, let them know like the reason you're kind of getting bored or fed up within your karmic relationship is because the Wheel of Fortune is taking place, and that's really asking you to understand the needs of your karmic partner, which is maybe they're acting in a certain way to push you to follow your dreams. Okay, some of the masculines are experiencing karmic situations where their karmics are acting crazy, man. They're acting nuts. They're pushing them away, but I think like they're pushing them away towards their life purpose and towards their life goals, which is experiencing the twin flame relationship on Earth, right? That's why twin flames came here, and that's why you'll find that you end up in so many weird situations, but at the same time it's still pushing you towards your twin. The Magician comes up again as like that number 1 energy, because the Magician talks about our own existence, like what did you come here for? And again, the number 1 being a very masculine card, the masculine being a very the Magician being a very masculine card. And even like with the Eternity symbol here, it's like no matter how many lessons he goes through, he understands that it's like if you resonate with the masculine energy at the core, you can't be arrogant, you can't be intolerant, you can't be passive. You kind of have to speak your truth, and you have to be ambitious about it, but also diplomatic, okay? So I'm going to move these cards out of the way, and I'm going to dive into the Sacred Rebels deck. What is the masculine doing about it in terms of like talking to his karmic partner? And those of you who have this deck know it's like so hard to shuffle because the cards are like so big. So every time cards do come out, I like greatly appreciate them because yeah, this deck is not the easiest to shuffle. That legacy of light always coming up. I feel like it's 2020, clear vision, the twin flame experience coming to life in the reality of things. Okay, so we're going to start it off with visions of life beyond death. And for me, like what I get right away is the masculine is getting help from his ancestors. Like what I get from this card is like the karmic has tried to influence the masculine about the twin flame connection in a way where the divine feminine is like crazy, or the divine feminine has casted some sort of spell, or this is a very 3D experience where the feminine is just fixated on the masculine. But what's happening with this card is the masculine and the feminine are separated right now, and then he's getting dreams of the feminine interacting with his ancestors in a really peaceful, positive way. And I wouldn't be surprised if some of you have had interactions with your masculine where he tells you things like, I feel like we've done this before, or I feel like we've had this connection before. And I think that right now, like what's taking place is he's having to draw boundaries in his life with things that just like don't feel right, or they don't feel good, or they don't feel spiritual. And his ancestors are pushing him to be more spiritual because they know that that's why he came to earth. It's to be fulfilled. And so he's getting these visions about the feminine, and it's in the most enlightening ways. Like he's waking up out of his sleep from dreams that just kind of really lets him know about his purpose with the feminine, and it's making him feel like so connected to you, and have like such a longing for you. And the feminines are also having these kinds of dreams as well. I have the, let's see what the number synchronicity on that was. So we have a 44, which is the number 8, which talks about advancement. And usually 44s aren't supposed to be added to 8. They're usually a master number, which is the 4 energy amplified. So it's having integrity, being honest, trusting, having high morals. And I think that that's his ancestors, right? Like they're asking him to do that. And the reason he's able to do that now is because he can trust. Like if this information is coming from like my grandmother who has passed on so long ago, or my grandfather, or an uncle, or an aunt, then they're really receiving these kinds of epiphanies. And I feel like these cards, like for whatever reason, the Sacred Rebels deck just kind of brings out this connection that the masculines have with a higher power. And I'm just being guided to tell you feminines, like sometimes we might think that we're the awakened ones on the journey, but the masculines have so much guidance around them. We have the number 30 coming up, which is the number 3 that talks about the manifester, okay? And I think that the 3 is about creativity, seeking a lot of pleasure. And some of you might experience the negative sides of your masculines right now, which if he is in the 3 energy, he might be out of touch with reality. So you might experience a lot of mood swings. Some of you might call him Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. He's hot and cold. He's always in and out. And just that's the energy of the 3, but it says the perfection of your life. So I think, even with like the trees in the background too, and you can see that they're kind of like, when you take care of a plant and you're like, oh God, it's dead. But it's not dead. Like you just got to replant it in a bit of soil, give it some nurturing, give it some care. And that's what the 3 talks about. It's like manifesting. Even though you might have these mood swings or be out of touch with reality, your purpose is to seek adventure. It's to express yourself. And the masculines are having to learn this lesson when it comes to their twin flame connection, because the only time they ever feel like expressing themselves creatively is when they're with the feminine, which is why they can't sleep without you. They know this is coming up. Someone asked me in the comments, like, what's with the strawberry? I think you know what's with the strawberry, okay? He can't sleep without you. You know what's with the strawberry. Don't play like you don't know. And I'm being so playful when I say that. We have the 34 coming up, which is the number 7 that talks about awakening, self-development, going within, having poise. And speaking about poise, if you guys haven't seen Jane Eyre and you're a divine feminine, please watch Jane Eyre, because my friend Tracy actually recommended it and I started watching it. And it's the version with Samantha Morton, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. I will try to post it because I think I still have the WhatsApp link that she sent me, which, Tracy, I love you if you're listening. Thank you. I see so many synchronicities in the movies. It's nuts. But it says in the world and not of the world. And it reminds me of Jane Eyre and that poise, right? Like, to me, the masculine is understanding this connection from a place of Understanding that the feminine is unlike any other female he's been with. Like, she's here to grow with him. She's here to grow old with him. She's here to bring him growth, understanding. It's no longer about like the 3D world itself, because all of us are here to dive into our spiritual realities. We just can't help it. It's a natural part of evolution, the way we evolve as souls, right? Sometimes when we've gained everything, kind of like that masculine energy, which many of your masculines are, like they're abundant, they have it all, but they don't have you. And so that's why you'll find that they're resurfacing in your reality. It's because that very energy of being in the world and not of the world is what the feminine is teaching him. I'm just going to shuffle the Tarot of Sexual Magic because I've been getting like a lot of sexual energy from them, of course. But like, I just want to know how they feel about the twin flame connection, like as far as it's sinking in, because it has, and they're indefinitely looking at you from afar, and they can't sleep, and they're thinking about how to approach you. I just kind of want to dig into their minds a little bit and find out what messages they want to send you in terms of thinking about you passionately. And I know that the feminines want to be like, I told you so, in terms of like the truth about this connection, but they kind of have to see for themselves, I think. I'm just going to go with whatever's at the bottom of the deck, because sometimes, you know, whatever messages come out, you just know that it's just drawn to the energy overall. I have the King of Swords coming up, which is, of course, him kind of like walking away from connections that no longer serve him. Once I posted this card in a reading, and someone commented, a man having his foot on the woman's breast is like so disrespectful, and they were kind of like, I felt the energy of like, ew, the masculine is so disgusting. But it's like, I want you guys to remember that the masculines, like even with the woman looking in from the window, as men, they face very negative experiences with the feminine energy. So by portraying the feminine energy as like more than, it's like creating that imbalance. It's why the yin and yang exists. It's why we find this challenge of having to balance the masculine and feminine within us. It's because really there is no better than. There is no sex that's better than. We both have the same sex within us. And with the King of Swords, I find that the masculine is putting this into perspective here. And if you guys are familiar with astrology, I want to just point out that the Swords energy is about air energy. So any Gemini, Libras, or Aquarius, you are the thinker. You think about decisions, you doubt, problems come up for you, you're constantly thinking about what the right move is, what the best move is to make. And I feel like within the masculine's experience with women, like he has to put the foot on the breast because he's been used and abused so many times. And now that he's in the king energy, it's like the Swords energy is like cold. Like they will cut you off when it comes to figuring that problem out. Okay, so kudos to you, masculine, in terms of like navigating your karmic cycles. The 10 of Chalices here comes up. I want this energy to be felt as the feminine because that's what I immediately felt when I picked it up. He's coming after his feminine because when you're in that emotional state of mind, or you tend to see things from an emotional nature, you want to understand the world from your five senses. And the fact is that no matter what's going on spiritually or what you've been programmed to believe or think, even religiously, the masculines are making sense now of their emotion and how they feel, and they're going after the feminine. And the Chalices being a very feminine card, the feminine's inviting him to come forward and create this new beginning with her, because the 10 will boil down to a number 1, which is new beginnings, striving forward, being ambitious. And the masculines are going off on this journey and letting her know that he's coming. So feminines, don't feel worried at this time about your connection. Have faith in your masculines. We have the Two of Pentacles coming up to end off this reading. And I don't read reversal, guys, even though it came up in reversed. The reason I don't read reversals is because I kind of feel like a long time ago when tarot was being used for game playing, reversals were read as a way of feeding into having you come back to solve a negative problem. When we read cards straightforward, it lets you know what the problem is directly without having to figure it out a whole bunch of times. And I think that the Two of Pentacles comes up because the two itself talks about the charmer, right? And many of you have experienced the masculine in that way where he's charmed you, but it's also pushed you to live out your divine life purpose in terms of drawing good boundaries with him. And I want you to take a good look at this card here because it's like the stars up there in terms of like the feminine knows that she's his wish come true, but he's approaching very cautiously. And we've got the beautiful herbs or bush that are burning here. And to me, that represents this very comfort and warmth that we tend to feel when we're at home with someone. Because the two talks about divine life purpose, the humanitarian in you. And it's okay for you to feel this way around the feminine, masculines. There's nothing to feel secretive about or approach her about because she's there. And the Pentacles energy itself will represent earth signs, Virgos, Taurus, and Capricorns. And by nature, they're about the physical body. They're about the material world. They're about building. They're about smelling good, feeling good, really enjoying the luxuries of life. So masculines, you don't need to be so like intimidated by approaching her in terms of knowing that she's your wish come true. I think that coming together is representing your life purpose. Many of you will say, when am I going to get into union with my twin? And my answer is always like, the minute you made eye contact, you're already in like union. Because each and every step you take along the way is coming closer to each other, right? Like the way he's coming closer towards her like that. I hope this reading finds you all well, and I hope that the communication that you anticipate with your masculine that's coming up goes very well, and that you're feeling good, drawing healthy boundaries, and not being afraid to let this connection go where it goes. I love you guys, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Take care.